So first things first, drop your name in the chat so that you get credit for the discussion. We are going to begin by just taking 1 minute. I don't know about you guys, but I teach right up until this point, and I feel like sometimes I just need to like gather my chi and collect my thoughts before I dive into a discussion. And so that's what we're going to do. You get 1 minute, and I just want you to pull up the article that we're talking about, take a look over the main points really quick, and then have in your mind your biggest takeaways from the article. I teach up until 5:30, which was poor planning on my part, but it just means I'm always going to be a couple minutes late. So it gives you guys a little bit of grace too. Okay, so for those of you who just hopped on, I'm just giving you 1 minute to kind of gather your thoughts on the article, talking about the 8 things top practicers do, and what you are going to share are just your biggest takeaways. Okay, let's go ahead and dive in. Who is willing to kick us off tonight? Taylor, thank you.
No worries. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, sounds perfect.
Okay, cool. I think something that I really liked from the article was how it says, what is it? It says, errors were addressed immediately when they appeared. I was practicing my piece for individual piano this week, and I was like, so I was like trying to memorize it and can like get through it. And then I noticed a mistake, and so I'd go back to the beginning and play it. And when I got there, I slowed it down a bit, and then I made sure my hands knew where they were. And then if I messed up, I did it like 2 more times, but just that specific section. And then that way, when I got to it, I knew what I was doing, and I didn't have to look at the sheet music. So I liked how it said like you address it immediately when it appears, rather than being like, oh, just finish the piece and then go back and fix it, because you're just going to keep forgetting every single time. So I think that was something that I really I really agreed with. And then something else that was big was practice was thoughtful, as evidenced by silent pauses while looking at the music. Making notes on the page, that's also big for me. And like if I see that I've made notes on somewhere that I need to pay attention, then I'll be more aware while I'm practicing that that's a place that I struggled with. So I think that those 2 things were big with my practicing for this last like couple of days. So
Excellent. Okay, who will go next? Nina.
So the number one, and did we have this in class before, or have I read it in another class or something?
Did we do it in this class before?
Okay.
You got
I wasn't sure. I thought maybe that you shared it because you wanted to have more of a live discussion with it. So that was one of the reasons I was like, oh, this is good review, and it's really interesting. So
this is amazing. They have to do this twice apparently. So
I guess.
Yeah.
But the biggest thing to me that probably stood out was that it didn't matter how many times they played it right. It was more about how many times they played it wrong, and the fewer times playing it wrong made a better performance overall. So even some of the people that practice shorter amount of times, if they were stopping and slowing down, and I've noticed, especially with the scales, I told you how much last week that was freaking me out, and it clicked. I used the 4th finger and it was like, oh, that works. Okay, I got it now. But as I kept going faster and faster because I was getting frustrated, it's like, wait a minute, okay. And this actually popped into my head, like, nope, play it right. The fewer times you play it wrong, the closer you'll get to it, even if you have to go painfully slow. And that was the thing that I remembered thinking the first time too, like but it's not about playing it like 500 times. It's about avoid playing it wrong, I guess, is the best way I could think of that.
Yeah, no, you just nailed it on the head. That is such a shocking truth that I wish everyone could really fully internalize and realize. It's an amazing truth, and really one that's quite encouraging. As long as you can turn the train around and stop letting yourself feel like you need to play it wrong before you can play it right. Okay, excellent.
And especially as somebody who probably has a lot less spare time than most students, that was also a huge, yeah, like you said, encouraging thing, just like, oh, okay, I can do this. I don't have to spend more time. I don't have to spend as much time as everybody, as long as I'm doing it, avoiding doing it wrong.
And I've had so many discussions with many of you in this class individually just about what you can do to be more efficient with your practicing and to be more successful with your video submissions in general. And my biggest advice to everybody would be turn in something that isn't to tempo if it can't be. Turn in something that's slow, maybe even something that is hands separate, that shows that you are working methodically, that you are doing your best, and that what you submit is truly correct in the zone that you can do it in now. The points that you miss showing me that type of work will be far less points than if you try and do it up to tempo, but it has inaccuracies and inconsistencies. So there are inevitably going to be things that you have to submit that are going to be harder than what you can play right now. I promise you. And the deadline's going to come and go. In that moment, just say to yourself, I am going to do what I can right now and just try my best and submit something that's consistent and in my control and clean and not perfect. It doesn't need to be perfect. Just show what I can do now and then trust the process. Just keep trying every week, look at the new material, and then your grade really at the end of the day is going to reflect your progress, your commitment, and your continued consistent hard work. I promise. As long as you do that, I'm not so much worried that every single exercise and every single module is up to tempo and perfect each week. It's really not as much about that. I also wanted to mention, before I keep getting other feedback, this comes from the Alfred Group Piano Curriculum. There's a hard copy of this book, I think in the cabinets in room 216, if anyone likes to see hard copies of books. If it isn't there, then I can make sure you have access to it if you would like to check one out. But if you want to flip through, you can see that in each one of these units that's covered in the module, there's also like 20 other pages of material that you could be doing to like reinforce and help you along the way for what you're actually showing. All of that material is also built into Piano Marvel, but for those of you who are looking for ways to kind of maybe supplement or help you feel like there are more stepping stones along the way, that would be where I would, the direction I would point you in, would be just looking at all of the exercises inside of each one of those units. The class is very predictable. It just moves unit by unit, so you can always know what to expect. And then what I've done is just kind of pulled things from each one of those units in that Alfred Group piano book. Okay, so I'm done talking now. Let's hear from somebody else back to the article. Who's willing to share next? Megan, take it away.
My biggest takeaway the last time and this time was like the slowing down before, like you might make it, like if it's a hard section, slowing down and not stopping. So I always tend to stop and then just like try it on its own. So like just the slowing down first instead.
Yeah. Why is it so hard to slow down? It's so weird that it is the absolute opposite instinct that we have. Like as things get trickier, we tend to like really work ourselves into a corner by speeding up. But gosh, there isn't a single pianist out there who doesn't fall into that trap, or musician out there. So I love that. It's just like, if I could have a student write one thing to always be looking at when they're practicing, it would just be like, slow down. And the truth is, that's kind of a metaphor for life sometimes. Like, I feel like we're always in such a hurry. If we all just can kind of like slow down, breathe, everything will go better. One of my favorite things I learned, I can't remember who it was that told me this, but it was so smart, and it was about jiu-jitsu. And it was saying the best jiu-jitsu fighters are not the ones that are necessarily the fastest and the strongest. They're the ones that are thinking ahead. So people that are like successful in life, it's not because they're always in a hurry. It's because like they woke up early enough to leave early enough to make it to class on time. Like in fact, they're often moving slower in life, but they're just thinking, like they're thinking further ahead somehow. Okay. Who else is willing to share? I think we just have Tony left. Lauren and Tony.
I can go next if that's okay.
Take it away, Lauren.
Awesome. So the things that I think really stood out to me were especially that the people who tended to play it better the next time were those that anticipated their mistake and didn't make it before like it actually came. Because I think personally in my own practicing, and I think for a lot of people, we tend to make the mistake and then we're like, oh shoot, I didn't mean to, like I should have played this instead. I didn't mean to make that, like hit that note. But I think that's more of conscious playing. And when you say, okay, wait, I'm about to make a mistake, let's stop and like figure out what I'm doing first. And then also that they started playing their hands together first, like they tried it before anything else, because I think a normal approach is to play like one hand and then the other. But if you start with them together, you're already making more progress.
Yeah. Yes, very well put. Okay, Tony, you ready?
Yeah. So something that the eighth one was that they repeated the target measure until they got it up to where they wanted, and that's something that Dr. Morrison, the clarinet professor, and I've been working on a lot. Is with the more tricky, faster sections, is just taking just like that specific chunk and working on it, because you don't like if you don't need to work on the other chunks around it, then you just need to work on like leading into it and going out of it in that chunk specifically. So it's something that I guess I like made the connection of that it could work for both clarinet and piano, but it's certainly the case.
Ah, that's fabulous. What you said reminded me of something one of my friends recently said, which really cracked me up. He was like, I love efficiency. It's just another form of laziness. And it's kind of true and amazing at the same time. It's like Deep Thoughts by my friend Lance. I could write a book. And that's one of them. Like being efficient will save you a lot of time. And it's kind of like a friend of laziness. It's like the acceptable friend of laziness is efficiency. And we should all like aim to be the most efficient we can in life. That's also true on our instruments. Like when you're playing something technically sound, you're also playing it with the least amount of work as possible, right? You are being as lazy as possible or as efficient as possible. So, okay, you guys, this was fabulous. I love seeing your faces and hearing your thoughts. This has been the best addition to the class for me. I hope you guys are enjoying it too, but I know that I'm really grateful for this chance we have to just interface, touch base, talk about how your practicing is going. Do you guys have any other questions about things coming up, or just any other things you want to talk about before we move into the practice session portion? Okay. If you guys stick around long enough after we make it through some practicing, you can pass off portions of the module if you'd like. Otherwise, if you just wanted to hit up the discussion tonight, awesome. I've got your name in the chat. You will get full credit. Thanks for being here. And I'll look forward to seeing your Module 11 video submissions. For those of you sticking around to practice, awesome. Go ahead and open up Piano Marvel, get set up at your keyboard. I'm going to pause my video for a second and fix the camera above so that it's showing the correct angle of the keyboard. I will be back. Okay, we have Lauren, we have Nina. This is awesome. I'm going to go ahead and share the screen and open up Piano Marvel. Okay. Okay, we're here, team. So this module starts with more scales hands together, but I am so excited to tell you that these scales hands together, the coordination is so much easier than what you just faced, I promise. So Nina's shaking her head, it's true. So here's the deal. On this scale, your thumbs come together every single time, which is so nice. It happens on C and then again on F. Your forefinger in your left hand plays the G, and your forefinger in the right hand will always play the B flat. Let's go ahead just nice and slow for 2 octaves. Right hand is on the F above middle C. Left hand is 2 Fs below middle C. So nice and slow. 2, ready, play. So left hand 4, right hand 4, thumbs. Pause here. Make sure your left hand crosses with the 3. Okay, so here we go. Now thumbs come together on Fs. Pause, gather your chi. Left hand is going to use a 4 on the G. Right hand's headed for 4 on B flat. And then your thumbs come together. Left hand crosses to a 3. Your right hand ends on a 4. Don't freak out, it's totally normal for F. In fact, it has to end on a 4. And now let's come down. 4, 3, 2, thumbs together. Right hand on a 4. Left hand on the 4. Thumbs together. Right hand use a 3. Thumbs together. Right hand on a 4. Left hand on 4. And we're back to the bottom. Okay, let's do it again. This time I won't interrupt. We'll go nice and slow. 2, ready, play. Thumbs together. Thumbs together. Thumbs. 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 The arpeggio, we talked about this last week. Your left hand can totally use the 3 in the middle if you prefer. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. 2, 3. Thumbs on F. Okay, that should be quite familiar because it's just the same coordination as the arpeggios you did in module number 10. Okay, we have made it to my favorite scale in the entire world. It was Horwitz, the great pianist Horwitz, who said that B major is the best key ever to play in because it fits the shape of your hand so perfectly. So what I want you to remember about B is that your thumbs in both hands are only ever going to play the white keys. And there are only 2 white keys in the key of B and E. That's it. Now, all of the other black keys just follow this principle. Your peace fingers are always going to play the set of 2 black keys. So just get used to that. Peace fingers on your set of 2. Now your middle 3 fingers are going to play your set of 3 black keys in a row. Every single time. So middle 3 fingers on your set of 3. Peace fingers on your set of 2. So then that only leaves the B and the E, which I already promised is going to be played with thumbs, except for at the beginning and end because you get to use finger substitution. So if your peace fingers have to play the C sharp and the D, that means you're going to check this out. That little finger number under the B is a 4, and it will always be a 4 in the left hand. It just starts on the 4. Your right hand thumb will be on a B, and then your thumbs come together all the time on this scale. Look how nice that is. For those of you who have access to a printed copy of this, or if you can make your own notes somehow, like annotate, if you were to just draw a thick line connecting those B's, E's, B's, E's, you would be able to have a good visual cue of when your thumbs come together. Okay, let's go ahead and play B major together. 1, 2, ready, play. Thumbs Thumbs come together on E, peace fingers, thumbs on E, middle three fingers, thumbs on E, peace fingers, and you're to the bottom. Oh, it should just fit like a glove. Let's do it one more time. Ready, play. Middle three fingers, peace fingers, middle three fingers. Okay, turn to the next module. Not the next module, the next page. So here we have our arpeggio. Don't do anything weird, it's just like the others. Pinky, 3-2 thumb in the left hand for sure this time. Here we go. Ready, play. Thumbs together, peace fingers. 1, 2, 3. Thumbs together, peace fingers. 1, 2, 3. Okay, turn the page. G flat major. So I think about how the white keys are always going to be hugging your set of 3 black keys, because that's the hard part about this scale. It's same as B major, all the black keys in a row, so follow the 3 black key rules, right? Your middle 3 fingers on your set of 3, peace fingers on your set of 2. Your thumbs are going to always be playing either the B or the C flat and the F. So you're always hugging your set of 3 black keys when you're making the choice of what white key to push down. So here we go. Such a lovely scale. Again, your thumbs always come together, so the coordination is much simpler than the last ones that we did. Okay, so your right hand starts on G flat below middle C. Your left hand starts on the lowest G flat on the piano. Let's do this, people. Ready, play. Thumbs, peace fingers, thumbs, middle 3 fingers, thumbs, peace fingers, thumbs, G flats, peace fingers, middle 3 fingers, peace fingers, how did it go? Should we do it again or should we move on? Okay, let's move on. Arpeggio time. So when you're playing all black keys, you really will use quite flat fingers. Still strong fingertips, so you're pushing down, kind of like imagine finger push-ups. There I am, there's my finger push-up. That's the type of strength you need in your fingertips. But you want to have a wide surface area on the black piano key. So instead of having super curved round fingers like we do in some cases, you'll play more like how we play when we're playing, I don't know, WC or something impressionistic. Okay, here we go. G flat major arpeggio. 1, 2, 3, 1, ready, play. Thumbs, peace fingers. Peace fingers, thumb, peace fingers. For those of you out there having problems with arpeggio fingering, if you can start seeing these 2 fingers as like there's a partnership there, they come and coordinate together all of the time. So then you would just see G flats, and then you would imagine peace fingers coordinated together, thumbs, and then just the peace fingers again. These 2. What I mean by peace fingers. Okay, team, let's move on. We have D flat major. Okay, if you think about this like C sharp instead of D flat, then you can use choose the right to help you remember how the white keys work. So you're always choosing the white key on the right. So it will be the F, and then if you look between the B and the C, you're gonna choose the C. Okay, you're choosing the right every time. Start with peace fingers, of course, because we're following the black key rule here, and then choose the right, so the F, and then your middle 3 fingers, and then choose the right for the C. Okay, let's play this together. Right hand is on the D flat above middle C, left hand is 2 D flats below middle C. Ready, play. Choose the right. Middle three fingers. Choose the right. Peace fingers. Choose the right. Middle three fingers. And we're there. Peace fingers. Come on C. Come on F. Yeah. Delightful. Okay, let's do the arpeggio. This changes, you guys. Things get a little bit different here. So because there is just one white key in your arpeggio, notice the F in your D flat major arpeggio is going to be played with your thumb, both of your thumbs, which means your right hand, if you want, you can start on a 2 on the D flat instead of the 4. I think that that's a little easier. But ultimately, when you get to the top and continue, you will play the 4 on your D flat in your right hand. So your thumb in the right hand, or your shape in the right hand ends up being thumb on F, 2 on A flat, 4 on D flat. And that's really what you're arpeggiating. F, A flat, D flat, F, A flat, D flat, right? And then you come down that same way. But you have to start on the D flat. So that's why you start with this little 2 over the thumb situation, and then thumb on F. And then you're off to the races on this one. Okay, so it's different. I'll give you that. Your left hand functions in a similar way. If you think about your left hand block like this, so think 4 on A flat, 2 on D flat, and thumb on F. So 4 on A flat, 2 on D flat, thumb on F. That is the most like root position-y arpeggiated figure. It will start, of course, on your 2 finger because of the D flat, and then you cross 4 on the A flat. 4, 2 on D flat, thumb on F, 4 on A flat, 2 on a D flat, and then you come down. So 2 on D flat, 4 on A flat, thumb on F, 2 D flat, 4 A flat, thumb on F, 2 D flat, play too high. So then when you do it hands together, your thumbs always will come together, and then your 4s and 2s, those contrasting fingers, will coordinate. So let's do this, starting on your 2s. Ready, play. 2, thumb, 4, 2, 4, 2, 3. Sorry, I started at the wrong spot. That's why I jumped up an octave. We'll do it again. It's easy for my hands to want to start 1 octave apart. So if you fall into that trap, I get it. Let's do it one more time. Ready, play. 2, 3. Okay. So now we have our first piece of music to play. I'm going to go ahead and use the PDF because I think it's a little bit easier to see and scroll from when you're not using the Piano Marvel Fancy mode. So let's just read this together. I just want you guys to hear it, get used to how it sounds, and here we go. So in position, we're thinking in the key of D major, right, with our 2 sharps. We're in 2/4 time, but you have a whole bunch of triplet figures. So really your sound world is 1 and 2 and 1 and 2. We're going to go nice and slow. In fact, we'll even turn the metronome on so that I don't end up rushing this. We're going to start, I'm thinking at 60. Let's see what that's like. We'll be a little kinder for our first read through. We'll go 48. Here we go. Let's do this. I'll do a pause after the first 2 lines for the scrolling's sake. Ready, 2, 1 and 2 and. measure 9. Okay, whew. So let's just block for a minute, okay? Take measure 1 and take left hand and then right hand. So I'm taking all 3 of the notes from the triplet figure and playing them at once. So we have D major in the left hand, D major in the right hand. Next measure, just raise the 5, so it becomes a D augmented. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Same thing, just that top note goes up another half step. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, which ends up bringing us to the B minor sound. And we have 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, just E minor position. Now that same E minor repeats for measure 5. E minor with a sharp 5. Same thing, the B sharp becomes a C sharp. And then F sharp minor. Okay, so that same thing happens in measure, it is a sequence. So the first line, you have a chord, your top note goes up a half step, your top note goes up a half step again, and then everything moves up. Same thing happens on line 2. You have a chord, you have half note creeping up, and then everything moves up. Okay, measure 9 starts just like it ended in measure 8. So F sharp minor, you guessed it, your thumb's gonna creep up to the D. Then we change quicker, G major next. And then this, if there's a measure that I had to put money on the fact most students will have funny notes on, it will be this one. Your left hand plays G sharp, D, and E. And your right hand totally breaks the pattern and plays a B, a D, and an E. But if you can just in your mind lock in E7, that's all that is. So G sharp, D, E. Just notes of an E dominant 7 moment. From there, it keeps going up, measure 13. We have, it's our D major chord, right, inverted. Then we come down to an A major chord, measure 14. And then we're back D major chord. So all that is, my friends, is blocking the harmonies of each measure and trying to identify the chord. Now, if right now that's not helpful and it's true way, just don't even worry about it. But seeing in 3-note chunks is a really helpful tool to thinking of instead of those individual notes. Okay, would you rather do this piece one more time or move forward? If you want to move forward, give me a thumbs up. If you want to do this again, give me a thumbs down. Okay, let's move on. All right. Oh, gotta get out of the PDF. Okay, so next up we have another just sight reading example. Nothing too crazy, just simple sight reading. So your left hand is going to be reading the chords indicated. So let's just look at left hand really quick so you know what the heck that means. Your left hand starts on D major, right? Your next harmony is D major with F sharp on bottom. So your 3 notes would be F sharp, A, D for measure number 2. For measure number 3, you need A major. For measure number 4, D major. And then measure 5, D major. Measure 6, F sharp minor. Now E minor over G is going to be G, B, E. And then to the A major, so G, B, and E from bottom to top. And then A, C sharp, E, back to D major. Let's try it nice and slow with the right hand. Get you guys out of the way. Okay. 1 E and 2 E. A major, F sharp minor is on the way. E minor over G, A major, D major. Okay, do you guys have questions about that? Okay, let's move on. Okay, here we go. Same thing, just a little more sight reading. Doing a lot of the same first inversion chord happening all over the place. So as soon as you make that shape with your hand, then just keep it there and just have a nice, not tight, but firm hand position so that you can then not have to re-find the third and the fourth on top a million times, right? You're just in the right structure from the beginning. Here we go. 1, 2, ready, play. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, louder. There you have it. One more. This is the last little piece for us to play. It just takes the same principle but moves it to the left hand, right? So now left hand is playing fourth on bottom, third on top, but same playing structure. Keep that same structure and it just shifts across the keys. Here we go. 1, 2, and 3, 4. Okay, do you guys know what it's called when at the last minute it turns to major?
Hickory third.
Hickory third, yes, Nina, you nailed it. I love that. Okay, let me get out of the screen share. Do you guys want any individual help on anything?